Most people rush this moment. A few quick touches, then they move on, believing they've already done enough. But one of the body's most responsive areas is often overlooked, not because it lacks sensitivity, but because most people never learn how it actually responds. Today, you'll discover 5 evidence-informed principles that can make this part of intimacy far more meaningful. Why anticipation often matters more than intensity, and the surprising connection between touch, the brain, and the body's overall arousal response. The first principle is simple, but it's also the one most people ignore. Don't begin where you eventually want to end. One of the biggest mistakes couples make is moving too quickly to direct stimulation. Research on arousal consistently shows that anticipation changes how the brain processes touch. When the mind expects a pleasant sensation, the body often becomes more responsive before that touch even happens. Instead of rushing, slow the pace intentionally. Start by creating a relaxed atmosphere where both of you feel present and free from distractions. Offer genuine appreciation, not rehearsed compliments, but sincere words that make your partner feel seen rather than evaluated. Then, let physical affection unfold gradually. A gentle embrace, lingering eye contact, soft kisses, and unhurried touch around the shoulders, neck, and upper chest allow anticipation to build naturally. This isn't about delaying pleasure for the sake of delay. It's about giving the nervous system time to transition from everyday stress into a state where intimacy feels comfortable, welcomed, and emotionally connected. When that foundation is in place, every touch that follows can feel more meaningful, not because you're using a secret technique, but because you're working with the body's natural response instead of rushing against it. The second principle is pressure. Many people assume that if a light touch feels good, a firmer touch must feel even better. In reality, sensitivity varies tremendously from one person to another, and it can even change from one day to the next. That's why the most reliable approach is to begin gently and let your partner's comfort guide what happens next. Rather than focusing on a single spot immediately, allow your touch to explore the surrounding area first. A slower pace gives the brain time to process each sensation instead of becoming overwhelmed by it. As comfort and responsiveness increase, you can gradually adjust the pressure, but never assume that more intensity automatically creates a better experience. The most valuable feedback doesn't come from guessing. It comes from paying attention. Notice breathing, facial expressions, body language, and most importantly, open communication. A simple question like, "Does this feel comfortable?" creates far more trust than trying to impress your partner with technique alone. The couples who build the strongest intimate connection usually have one thing in common. The fourth principle is integration. One of the most common mistakes is treating intimacy as though one area of the body exists independently from the rest. In reality, the brain experiences touch as a whole, not as a collection of separate parts. That's why gentle, coordinated affection often feels more natural than concentrating on a single location for an extended period. As you maintain comfortable, consensual contact, don't let the rest of your connection disappear. Hold hands, maintain eye contact, offer reassuring words. Let your touch remain relaxed and responsive rather than mechanical or repetitive. These small moments help reinforce emotional safety, which plays a major role in how the body experiences physical closeness. Research in relationship psychology consistently shows that emotional presence can influence physical experience. When someone feels accepted, respected, and free from pressure, the nervous system is more likely to remain relaxed instead of becoming guarded. Remember this: the body follows the nervous system, and the nervous system follows trust. Technique may shape the experience, but genuine connection is what gives it meaning. When both partners stay present, communicate openly, and respond to each other's comfort, intimacy becomes something you create together, not something one person performs for the other. The fifth principle is sensory contrast. The human nervous system is naturally drawn to change. When every sensation feels the same, the brain gradually pays less attention. But when gentle contrasts are introduced thoughtfully, the experience can feel more vivid without becoming overwhelming. A simple example is alternating between warmer and cooler sensations, or moving between a feather-light touch and a slightly firmer one, always within your partner's comfort level and with clear communication beforehand. The key isn't novelty for its own sake. It's helping the brain notice each sensation more clearly. You can also vary the rhythm. Slow movements followed by a brief pause. Gentle contact, then a moment of stillness. These changes give the nervous system time to process what's happening, instead of being flooded with constant stimulation. But here's the part that matters most. No sensory technique can replace emotional safety. If someone feels rushed, self-conscious, or under pressure to respond in a certain way, even the most carefully planned approach is unlikely to create a positive experience. On the other hand, when both partners feel relaxed, respected, and free to communicate honestly, even simple, affectionate touch can become deeply meaningful. The strongest intimate experiences rarely come from doing more. They come from paying more attention. The first feel relaxed and free to communicate honestly, physical closeness becomes more relaxed, more enjoyable, and far more meaningful. The third principle is understanding sensitivity instead of chasing intensity. Many people focus only on the most obvious point of contact, but human anatomy doesn't work in isolated sections. The surrounding tissue contains a dense network of sensory nerve endings, which means broad, gentle stimulation can sometimes feel just as significant as direct contact. That's why variety often matters more than repetition. Instead of repeating the exact same movement over and over, make small, gradual changes. Slow circles, gentle pauses, a lighter touch followed by a brief moment of stillness. These subtle differences prevent the brain from adapting too quickly to a single sensation and can keep the experience feeling fresh and engaging. Here's something many couples overlook. The goal isn't to constantly increase stimulation. Sometimes the most effective moment is the one where you briefly reduce it. That contrast allows anticipation to rebuild, making the next touch feel more noticeable than if the intensity had simply continued without interruption. This is also where communication becomes even more valuable. Every person experiences touch differently. What feels comfortable and enjoyable for one partner may not feel the same for another. Treat curiosity, not assumption, as your greatest skill. Asking for feedback and adapting together creates a more satisfying experience than relying on any universal technique ever could. Not every person will experience the same sensations, and not every body responds in the same way. That's completely normal. The real goal was never to achieve a specific outcome. It's to create an experience built on trust, patience, curiosity, and mutual respect. When both partners feel emotionally safe, communicate openly, and stay present with each other, physical intimacy becomes less about performance and more about genuine connection. Ironically, the people who stop chasing a result are often the ones who create the best conditions for meaningful intimacy. Remember this: the deepest connection is never forced, it's invited. If you'd like to explore this topic in greater depth, including evidence-based guidance on communication, arousal, and understanding the body's responses, you'll find additional resources in the link below. If you found this video valuable, subscribe for more research-based relationship and intimacy education. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.